What up, world? First stream. Market's about to open. PPI data came out at 6:30 this morning our time, and it's not good. However, the market is not. It's kind of just taking it in stride, which to me is very surprising. Let's see how it plays out here. In the meantime, let's get rid of this stuff from last night. See what we got going on here. Got an overnight peak at like 4:30-ish. Let's see how this thing develops for us. Get us a little bit of hippie crack, aka yerba mate going. Get some caffeine. Situated. Not smart enough yet to figure out how to put in initial balance highs and lows automatically on NinjaTrader 8. So I just put in these blue lines for the high and then the low between 7:30 and 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. Sorry, our time. Between market open and an hour into market open. Just the logic there is, so much volume is traded in the first hour that's the initial balance. A lot of comps are set in realistic terms. This 303 level that's marked on my chart is the weekly open for this week. So you can kind of see how this week we tagged it a couple times, then bounced right off of it, but we'll see if this PPI number is enough to get some of the FOMO out the market, but so far it seems pretty damn pretty frothy. Like right in here, I guess, would be the morning sell-off on PPI data, but that's 60 points. I mean, on an NQ, that's nothing, Check on something here. Got that going. Yeah, if anybody ever ends up seeing this broadcast, it's mostly just to get me to the trading desk at 7:30 in the morning instead of lollygagging around. But if it ever catches any kind of a following, I definitely would love to take any help I can get and offer any help that I can provide guys, because like trading is a game of emotions for sure. Like you can feel like you're on top of the world with one trade and getting the floor mopped up with you on the next, and it's not an easy business, that's for sure. But one thing I do see is that discipline does make it a lot easier. Iggy from a year and a half ago would be probably on my third trade by now. Nice little push higher. Wow. The FOMO is something, man. Now, like down here, aside from maybe like this hammer candle or something, like there's as far as the indicators I chart, there was zero reason for me to buy this. And let's see how the first 2 minutes develop. Yeah, surprisingly subdued market considering PPI came out double the expectations. You would think it would have a little bit more impact as it did in the last few months. You know, CPI and PPI together would move the market pretty dramatically sometimes. But I've noticed with this stock market, sometimes it just disregards everything and just rips higher anyway. Because I guess because of FOMO, I don't know what else to call it. So one of the things I've been learning is like 1 to 3 moves. So right now, you know, I might be tempted to short it, but if you go from the low right here to this short-term high right here, and you think of this as a 1, 2, 3 move, if it breaks this level, there's just plenty of room to run higher. Let's see if it breaks this little initial balance high. What I'm trying to do here is trying to trade off of confluences, right? Like not just off of one idea, but off of multiple. It is trying to break through that level. Yep, there it goes. And the way I'm trying to set these trades up is once I get the smallest amount of confirmation, for example, like if I was to go short against this rip higher, I'm not going to do it short of this 100% level. Ideally, it would be right in this range right here on the yellows. And also, you know, like if I was to go short right now, which I won't, but if I was, I would set my stop loss like right at this initial balance high right here. That way, if I'm wrong, I just get ripped out of it immediately. As opposed to, you know, taking a huge drawdown and getting stopped out here and then it reversing. I used to set stop losses as just automatic. Well, I'd still have the stop loss automatically set to 25 points just in case like the market totally rips against me, like, you know, in a split second. But I always bring it down to a level that I think that the market may respect. So like if I was to go short right now, I would set the stop loss at the IBH right here, initial balance high. However, I think that between the RSI not being completely overbought and this move not being overextended, it's a risky short that I don't necessarily want to take. Sitting here talking to myself with all the lights in the background. I got a light bar coming, so I'll be able to see my ugly mug better. little dip here. So the logic with these 1, 2, 3 moves is if it breaks through that 0.00 line right here, that it invalidates this 1, 2, 3 move. But for now, we have to treat it as if it's got a bullish bias, even though we're essentially just like in the trading range right now. That's the other thing that's kind of helpful I've noticed with these, there's a lot of ways to draw ranges, and a lot of people treat ranges different. Like, some people say ranges act like magnets. Other people just, treat them as like support or resistance zones. And I guess I kind of like drawing these initial balance highs and lows by hand, but drawing them by hand, because it just forces you to realize, like, oh, look at this line you just drew on the screen. I'm like pointing at my screen as if you can see it. But these two blue lines, you can see how much volume was closed in this range. So there's a lot of market activity in here. You could like put up volume profiles and probably see the same thing. But one thing I've learned over the last year and a half is the less shit I have on my screen, the more focused I can be to the things that actually matter. The candles on my screen are 1500 tick candles. There's no time frame attached to any of these. As you can see, the time is like kind of wonky here. Every 1500 transactions, so to speak, is one candle. And over the last several months, I found that for me, it's the easiest way to visualize price action, because it just kind of smooths out any kind of crazy like swings, and taking out the variable of time, and just shows you, like I said earlier, comps. Like, got a real estate background, so like to me it just makes sense that every sale is a comp, and somebody's in, somebody's out at that price, and that's where the market is. So I don't know if we're just kind of rotating through the range here. Still got to be careful shorting on stuff like this, because the news is out. The market did not react in a strong negative way as I thought it would. PPI data coming in at an annualized 7.2% does not say anything good about our inflation rate overall. So you would think that rising rates and the probability of rates rising even higher is not something the American economy can withstand. But I've been wrong before, continue to be wrong now. Let's see what this looks like on the YouTube. Pardon me if anybody is watching this. I'm just like learning how to do all this shit. Yeah, it's running. How cool is that? How cool, how cool. Well, all right, so we broke that level. So our 1, 2, 3 move is dead. Now, I mean, any fans of technical analysis might be like looking at like, could this be a head and shoulders starting to form up? Like, it could be. Who knows? I'm trying to like avoid looking at all these fancy formations and stuff. Like, basically right now I'm just looking for another 1, 2, 3 to set up lower. And if it does, and our RSI gets overextended to the downside, probably somewhere around this 300 level, we'll be looking to go long. And what I'm trying to do with my trades right now, man, on this Apex account is, they have all kinds of rules about drawdown and trailing drawdown. So I'm just trying to take little, like, if I can get 5-10 points, like I think I need like 8 more points in the week to hit my goal. I am not looking for home runs right now. Like, I'm just trying to set this account up for success and just trying to train the discipline of, not stressing out about missing out on big moves, just trying to get little pieces of it. So, like, again, looking at here, like, what indicator did we have to potentially go long here? Or, I'm sorry, go short here? Didn't really have anything. It just turned on its own. Here we're hitting our balance low, kind of hitting into this support zone here. RSI is getting low. So tempted to go long right now off of just RSI. And maybe let's take a stab at it right here. Move our stop up to IBL. And hope for the best. And probably going to get stopped out. Boom. All right, and that's how this works. It's like a loss immediately. Now, what I'm tempted to do, and like my heart starts to race and like emotions start to get into it, like, oh, I'm just going to get that money right back. I'll just trade it right away. But if we're charting this as a 1, 2, 3, then this would be the only way to draw it right now, which gives us a good amount of downside still. So let's give this thing a second to play out. Just get into the weekly open here. Trying to punch through it. Yeah. Well, kind of knew that that entry I took wasn't exactly ideal. It was a bit of a gamble, and that's why I like keeping the stop losses tight. That was essentially like an 11-point loss that we took there. Wow, this thing is kind of just starting to fall off a cliff here, man. Getting to those levels now where, we're going to jump in. And I guess we'll move our stop up. Not sure what just happened. It's really not good when you don't know what just happened with your trading software. But showing an $80 positive, so that's bringing us back to almost where we started at. Price action's kind of like a little bit wild. Definitely not like fully extended yet either. It keeps going lower. I'm glad I closed that out. still only 7:50 in the morning here in Colorado, so gotta kind of slow down. Like I got 2 trades in already, 1 loser, 1 winner. Downtrend is certainly ripping the fuck lower, and this makes sense. Like this is what I would have expected on the PPI report, but I'm kind of learning to not trade my expectations, but trying to learn how to just trade what's in front of me. See how wide our initial balance is getting. About 150 points now on that. I'm going to keep messing with these 2 blue lines until 8:30 comes around, because that's going to be when our initial balance is set. Now we're getting this little bounce right here. I mean, I could go in long right here and see if I can get a few points out of it, but yeah, might make sense. Might make sense. Might give it a second more to kind of try to find the bottom. Yeah, I mean, that's almost just a straight line down. You have that 1 green candle in there. Got to be a little careful trying to find bottoms, you know? And with this like Apex account and with the way I'm trading, like I don't really have the luxury for massive drawdowns. Like I can't afford to ride down 50, 60, 70 points just to watch a rebound. Like, you know, my stop losses are just way too tight for that. RSI is in like 20. It's like so tempting to buy in right here. I'll give it a stab, man. Hammering down, that's not good. Let's see if we got a little bit of buyer support coming through here. It'd be good. Yeah, not looking great, man. Come on, buyers, push it up. No. Damn, dude. It's a 19-point loss there. Not as fun. Not as fun. I would think we're like primed for a bounce here, you know? Shit, dude. This might be a short trading day for us. My goodness. My goodness. just kind of any sort of relief bounce here would definitely be appreciated. There we go. If we can push through that average, that'd be nice. All right, trailing stops are getting set up. See if we get a little bit of relief on this trade, that'd be great. Oh. I think I have like 7 points that's protected by the stop loss, and just trying to be a little bit more patient here because, you know, this thing does have the potential to recover some. It's a huge move that we ripped lower. It's funny how that 138.2 level is now acting as some kind of resistance zone. Boom. Stopped out. Not the morning I envisioned for my first stream, but just gotta remain patient and see if at this point the sellers want to go ahead and retest that low at like 230, or if this thing sails without us. Yeah, sellers are on a mission this morning. I'm gonna take this right here. I'll set my stop at the bottom of this candle. Oh, ugly. Yeah, not the most favorable market movement for me this morning for sure. Fuck. Wow, dude. Right through that bottom. Gotta be super careful now, man. Obviously my logic this morning is not with it, so I guess that's the one thing I can say positive about setting those stop losses tight like that is, you know, I got stopped out right here. That saved me like a good extra 20-25 points of drawdown. Now I can sit here and kind of like recompose myself. Um, just sellers are on it, man. It's 238, 261 levels, tend to support. However, trends and things that tend to happen don't always happen by any means. See if we can get a little bit of relief off of this guy here. Risking about 10 points, which honestly is all I got left to give really for today. It's up to the 161 here. Wow. Wow, sellers. Sellers are like, mission not yet accomplished. I'm gonna grab that, man. It's not going our way today. If it rips without us, whatever. I gotta trade like I normally would, man, which means take profits. Take profits. You know, this trailing drawdown on these Apex accounts will really fuck you up if you don't. And I'm not in the place yet where I can take these massive like if the market goes up 50 points and then pulls back, and I close the trade out at plus 10 points, that's 40 points of drawdown still against me. So I just got to be like exceptionally careful at this level because let's check and see what my drawdown level's set at. Got account balance of 51,352. Let's check that and see if that's true. 51,352. And I have and my drawdown's at 49,822. So basically, like I've got $1,500 of drawdown left that I could take. Not that I want to, right? But that was a ballsy long. It's 8:04 in the morning. Let's see if this thing rotates, man. It's kind of hard to imagine this thing rotating all the way back up to our initial balance high, which is almost 200 points higher, but Nasdaq's done crazier things than that, and it's doing it now. RSI sitting right at 50, which again, like I've super struggled with over trading over the years, like over the last year and a half, really. I've been trading futures, and it's so tempting right now to just like, oh, it's going higher, it's going to the moon, man. I'm gonna rip it right here and ride with it. But RSI at 50 tells me like, dude, maybe it isn't gonna do that, but like it's not a chance that's worth taking for me right now. I'd prefer to see, like, we blew through this low. I want to see if we retest this low, or maybe we end up with some kind of like inverse head and shoulders or whatever, and then keep going up. But an RSI at 51 basically tells me to just sit on my hands and wait for a better opportunity. And especially like, in the red, $690, like it's not a lot of money on futures trading. that comes and goes quickly. But this little red ticker right here just is like a reminder for me now. Like, okay, dude, like slow down. Like, no revenge trading. Don't force entries. Like, one thing I've struggled with for sure is having what I like to call good red days, meaning like, the setups I entered were valid and it just didn't work out. So like so far on the trades I got into this morning, I got in on one right here, right around the 100% level. That was aggressive. I knew that might not work out for me. Whatever. Like that was a risky trade that I knew was risky. Kept the risk tight on it. Didn't work out. We jumped in on another one here at the 138 level. It just sunk. We jumped in on another one like right here at the 161, and that's what caused the majority of our drawdown was this trade here. But luckily we went from like here to here, not having a stop loss. You would have had to ride it all the way down here, and if you're patient enough and have the capital to endure it, I guess you could you'd come right back. But this is just a blue line on the screen that I drew. Like there's no real reason that it bounced right there. It just happened to do so. So the way I'm looking at it now is if we break through this 138, which I'm just using that as a reference, like that's not really the level now. I mean, obviously we're retracing the move. If you want to look at it that way, let's see where we are on the retracements. So we're approaching the 38.2 retracement at 276. So we're like 14 points away. So like somewhere in here, we could be facing some resistance. And now, of course, I wish I kept on to that trade longer, right? I got out at like right here somewhere. Now it's 25 points higher and very much in the green, but that is how it works, man. Absolutely, that's just how it works. So I'm going to keep this 1, 2, 3 move on here just for reference, as it's not broken yet. But again, this is our retracement on the Fibonacci's. See right around 77, 277, that's our 38.2 retracement. 324 is going to be our 62. I don't want to put this up here because it's going to, well, let's make a mess. Let's have a mess here. Now it's like, does this 138.2 act as support now, whereas it didn't before? Maybe so. But with RSI as extended up as it is, I feel like if I buy this, I'm chasing it. And if anything, I should have just stayed in that move longer. But I'm sure you guys all know this. If you trade anything, but hindsight is always 20/20. The goal for me for the rest of this morning is going to be very snowy morning here in Colorado, man. We got like a legit blizzard going on outside. The goal for me is to spend the next hour and a half, 2 hours here, just kind of taking it easy and see if I can get back some or all of these losses slowly. Not really trying to get any home runs out of it. Let's see how our friends at NVIDIA are doing today. NVIDIA down $25 a share. I took a short on NVIDIA and Oracle like 2 days ago on options. And the Oracle short is up 12%, nothing huge. Nvidia short was up 15% overall. I'm going to give it a minute because I'm like a negative Nancy. If you guys end up watching this channel over the long haul, you're going to see that like I interpret everything kind of through kind of a negative light, I guess, and it's just kind of how I have been my whole life. But it just doesn't make sense the way that all the economic indicators are coming out and the way that the stock market's reacting to it. It's irrational to me. And I really wish I kept that trade for an extra 40 points. No, like 50, for almost an extra 50. You guys can see it on my screen, but I'm trading two contracts. So, you know, every point is worth 40 bucks. Watch this thing recover, man. That's crazy. RSI is getting way overextended. We just broke that 38 level. It's right here. I know this chart's confusing with a bunch of numbers on it. So this initial 1, 2, 3 move that I mapped out, the beginning of the move is at 349. So if this thing gets above that level, this move gets deleted completely. Wow, man. Yeah, it just doesn't cease to amaze me how FOMO operates in this market environment. Like, it's just huge move down, and then it's basically just a V-shaped recovery at this point right now. Because don't call it a recovery until you know you hit about another 100 points, but it's kind of nutty. Now we're at the week open. It's probably going to get a little bit of action here at this 303 level. You got the psych level at 300 plus the weekly open right there. So there's going to be some players involved in this. Now we're approaching the 62% retracement where I might consider a short if I have any kind of like halfway decent setup, meaning like I can keep my risk tight. Last thing I want to do is just get run through by a squeeze, which would not be the first time that happened to me. The gray line we're approaching here on my chart is our 200 moving average, and keep in mind the candles here are 1500 ticks, so this is not a time moving average, it's truly a volume moving average. The red is 50, the yellow is 21 EMA, 50 SMA, 21 EMA, 200 SMA. Charting some volume right here, right around the weekly open, which makes sense. Let's see if the bulls or the bears get a grip on it. Buyers might be petering out a little bit, but I don't believe that enough to put my money where my mouth is right now. Let's see how it goes. Yeah, exactly. Look how it's charting right off that blue line. That's crazy. Tag the 200, approaching the 62 retracement. I mean, if you wanted to be super aggressive on a short, like this could work out. However, I think this morning I've been already a little bit too aggressive, so it's kind of like I might not have the nuts for this right now. And overall, I mean, like, despite all of my like gut feelings or whatever, like we're still in a bull market. I mean, we're setting all-time highs still, and like I can't really forget that. Like the sentiment is still ripping higher, um, despite any logic that I might want to apply to it. And that's something I'm also like trying to work on in my trading, is to disregard logic and just look at the chart, because my logic and what other people do are not connected. Nice. Okay, so sellers coming through. Let's see. On this retest, if we get like a bullish engulfing candle on this one, it's going to be like, wow. But maybe we are petering out a little bit here. I'm going to take just a baby short here. Keep my risk super duper tight on it. And get my ass kicked immediately. Ay, what a morning. This might just be a bear trap kind of setting up. That might not be. No. This thing's definitely finding ways to hurt my feelings this morning. Let's be honest. Oh my god. When I set a bear trap setting up and then I get caught right up in it, huh? Man, these moves are like it's the Nasdaq or something. Come on, love. Rip through that average for me? No? Now you guys get to see my roller coaster of emotions as you watch this later. Goodness. Let's get a nice little rotation and test day low. That'd be awesome. That would be super helpful for me. if you guys ever end up watching my videos, you're going to learn real quick that patience is not my strong suit, and it's doesn't make trading any easier for me, that's for sure. Oh, come on now. All right, let's get something out of this. Come on. Come on, sellers, come through. Jesus, dude. That's what I get for not taking, the 10-point rips that I'm trying to trade for, right? It's almost like there's an upside and a downside to patience, Sometimes I guess, like, at which point does your patience just become greed, right? It's a pretty unpleasant trade. Yeah. Luckily, I'm about to get stopped out of it, so. Fuck me, dude. So there's an $1,800 loss for the morning. Doing good. Doesn't leave us much room. Doesn't leave us a whole lot of room. $49,822. Oh shit, we have like $400 that we can lose. It's 10 points. That's got to be the most frustrating thing about trading these like Apex and Top Step accounts is like, you know, I was up $2,200, I lose 1,800, and now it's like you're just within, you know, just one little tiny fraction of a move away from blowing your account up. It's definitely not easy. Just gotta be careful here. I mean, this is, you know, well, hey. Yeah, in retrospect, I wish I took those 12 points or 13 points or whatever I had. That would have been a lot cooler than a 15-point loss. But that's a struggle, right? Like, you want to be patient enough to let your trade play out. You know, there's nothing keeping this candle from running to the 138 to the average. Like, you would think you have at least an extra 15, 20 points of downside there. That's just not the case. You know, the market doesn't give a shit what you think. One thing I will say in defense of like Apex or Top Step or whatever is it definitely feels different losing your own money than, you know, it sucks. Like the amount of effort that I'm putting into this and the lack of results like sucks for sure. But it doesn't suck nearly as hard as like, you know, losing 10 grand of my actual money in a week, because that's not a luxury that I really have right now. You know? Here come the buyers, man. Pushing on the 200, breaking the 200. Let's see what we do here. Straight at the 62 retracement. Straight through the 62 retracement. Boy, it's getting real frothy again, huh? Kind of tapping at the bottom of the range here. So I'm gonna take a gamble here and hope it works out, because if it doesn't, I am screwed. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, man. And that's probably going to be all she wrote for this account. Unless we get some serious luck right now, which has not been on our side this morning. Hmm. Let's at least not lose money on this trade, huh? And I know that's a, as Daniel Inskeep says, a toxic trade, man. But it's hard. It's hard with these tiny ass accounts to like truly let your winners run. It really is. It's like, okay, cool. Now we just took 280 bucks out of it. It's probably going to rip lower, but like we just got to chip away. Like that's the thing. I don't know if nobody's watching this, and this is like a diary for myself, but like it's really, really easy to get greedy, and it's really, really easy to lose sight of the fact that like, you know, 300-400 bucks a day across multiple accounts will change your life, but you know, negative 1,500 bucks a day across multiple accounts will fuck your life, you know. Again, luckily this is, you know, an Apex account. It's not my real money that we're losing here, but it's, this is the part I struggle with, is like, you know, you chip away at it, you chip away at it, you chip away at it, you make good habits, you log it, journal it, have good discipline, and then get a little bit greedy a few times. Don't grab your 10, 15 point winners, let them go against you, which is fine. Like with a big account, like if you have 100 grand in capital to play with, you can absorb those swings. But on these prop firm accounts, like you have to take those winners. 5 points, 10 points, 15 points, you got to take them. So it's hard. It's hard. Greed is a powerful emotion, and you know, FOMO is a powerful emotion. Same, you know, go hand in hand with greed. But look, like we just took our little gain, and now once again it would have been a loss. So it's like everybody's got their own trading strategies, and everybody's got their own risk tolerances and stuff. But like for what I'm trying to do, like I made a mistake down here. I should have taken that off. I had a couple of those today where I had good gains that I let lapse for whatever reason. Well, the reason being greed. Got to be careful here to see that, you know, maybe buyers are just buying this dip up, and this thing could easily rip back to the day high. And then right here at 349, just 10 points above us, is where this 1, 2, 3 move started. Right here. So it makes sense that we have some resistance here. Is this resistance strong enough to hold? We'll see. Because if we treat this thing as a 1, 2, 3 move, man, I mean, that's a 203. That's like a roughly 110 point move. That would put us like up here for 100% extension. Just gotta slow down. Still relatively early. Been in the red pretty much since my first trade, man. This sucks. Check on the snow outside. A legitimate blizzard out there. Probably close to a foot of snow on the ground, snowing sideways. Glad my internet's still up. So hitting some resistance at like 340. That's got to be the hardest thing about trading to me, is just like sitting here on your hands thinking about taking a trade short, not taking it, and realizing like whatever losses you had could just be offset right there and then. And I completely am aware of the flaw in that logic. Like, uh, the discipline, the mental discipline portion of this, portion. I feel it's like the whole thing is mental discipline. Like, there's really, you can look for technical setups, you can look for whatever kind of market expertise, like you can look for whatever edge you can think of, and if you don't have the discipline to execute on that, it's impossible to become profitable at this. Starting to get some volume through again. Got stuck on that 62.70 level right there in that little bracket, and got plenty of buyers right below it looks like. Fighting with the averages. And it's cold. Cold today. Well, what's up? Do we bounce off this range that we're about to hit, or do we test the day low? as I sit here thinking I should have shorted at 40, right? I think the biggest reason I'm doing this like stream is to, I journal and stuff, but this can be like a video journal. And even if nobody watches this thing, man, I hope I can learn through it. It's like now I just want to enter long because like, oh, it's going to bounce here. It's going to bounce, right? And it very well might. But RSI is not quite low enough. Hasn't finished this rotation. And if I talk myself into a trade here, it might be very similar to my trades here, here, here. Right. There's 10 points. Wow, man. Buyers are strong, strong, strong. Can't forget that this still, we're still near all-time highs. Like the FOMO's in full effect. Like can't let a move like this fool you into thinking you're in a bear market all of a sudden. And then there's like the struggle with kind of like identity of like what kind of trader do I want to be? Do I want to be the guy that, waits for this move to get here to sell? I have a hard time with that with my personality and with these accounts that I'm using. So like what I'm really trying to focus on is being this guy that just takes that, 12, 13, 14 points or whatever and just bag that. These levels are kind of starting to get a little bit messy and confusing for me. So let me go ahead and take some of this off. So the 1, 2, 3 that we charted here didn't quite break. So these levels theoretically still remain valid, although you could argue that this is an upward 1, 2, 3 that we're now up against. So once this level, if this level breaks, then it's over. But until then, we have to anticipate the fact that this could be the first leg of that move. Buyers are certainly trying to make it that way. It's funny because like even with nobody watching this and I'm just sitting here talking to myself, I still feel like some sort of pressure to do better because I guess this is being, documented. And human psyche's funny, man, especially mine. So we're just like holding this little spike right here, this little level. establishing a tiny little trading range here. Look at that. Right off of this range bottom here. Charting up a bunch of volume right through here. We're talking like not even a 20-point range here. Talk about a balanced market, right? Balanced and efficient. Just for fun, like if we're now thinking that maybe this is the beginning of a new 1, 2, 3 leg down. That would put us like this basically. Yeah. So I guess like this 250 level roughly becomes pretty good confluence for buying. Geez, man, the buyers don't want to give it up. Do not want to give it up. Just wondering, like, our seller is going to be strong enough to come through and retest that low. I mean, if the news and economic data has anything to do with anything, you would think that the sellers have plenty of reason to do so. Kind of another head and shoulders setting up here. Maybe breaking through this range finally. Take a quick stab at it here. Long. There we go. I'll grab that. Fuck it. See, that's the kind of trades I'm trying to get. A couple seconds in, 300 bucks. Like that's, I'm almost ashamed to say, but that's the type of trader I have to be at this point. See a quick opportunity, scalp it. Could this thing rip for another 50 points? Sure. Do I have the luxury of watching that happen right now? No. Yeah, there it goes. Nice. Um, yeah, setting up a nice little range here for sure. Yep, nice. That would have been a pretty sweet little setup. However, like shit, you know, sweep low, sweep high. I mean, this is just chop. Very dangerous trading. What's up, bro? I'm screwing up, dude. I am screwing up this morning. But, screwing up versus not taking any chances, there's a thin line between those two. Pressure's on. Friends are watching. Dude, how crazy is it to think that, like, a large percentage of the global economy is literally this bullshit right here that you're watching on the screen? Just little green bars and red bars that provide no value to anybody, really. Yet transfer like trillions of dollars a day. So we call chop, bro. It's a good way to lose money. Just getting chopped up. Did it send you like an email or something, dude? Like, how did you even see this? Good old mid-morning slowdown. You get these massive moves down, and like this took from 7:35, 7:36 to just shy of 8 a.m. 24 minutes, and then this is the following hour. Market finding its balance, right? 9 o'clock's coming up. All the longer term traders are going to make some decisions based on those candles, see what happens. for now, I just got to keep my excitement level to about a 0. I want to go short against everybody in the world. Sometimes that works. Definitely getting kind of slow. Well, do we break out of this range? Or do we just keep testing the bottom of it? You would think with this strong of a move down that the sellers would want to retest the low, but I also thought the housing market would crash in 2018, so. Not a genius sitting here in front of you, that's for damn sure. Man, these buyers are relentless, dude. For what reason? Makes so little sense. But again, like this whole like trying to apply logic and reason to this to the futures market is it's a mistake. Sure, inflation's at 7.2%. Sure, interest rates went up a bunch this morning. 10 years at 4.28. We were at like 4 2 days ago. But I'm sure that Nvidia and AI is going to save the world, much the same way that having .com after your brand name saved everything in the early 2000s. But what's that saying? Uh, the market has the ability to remain irrational longer than most people can remain solvent. And that's the damn truth, man. As you're seeing on my PNL at the top of the screen there, that's very, very true for me. I can be extremely right and still lose. Look how the bottom of that range held out. That's cool. The buyers are asking us to hold their beer, please. This is our top of the hour. Top of the hour volume here. It'll probably taper off in a few minutes. Nice little 50-point rip here in the last 2 minutes that I did not participate in, of course. Ooh, watch the frustration build on stream. No, it's all good. It's just part of it. See if we can push to that like 340, 350 level and see if we can break that move from this morning. That'll break our trend fully. Again, for no justifiable reason other than greed, I guess. I'll let this candle burn out, see how the RSI finishes here, and maybe try to blow up my account by going short. All right, let's fuck ourselves up. We are about to witness the most frustrating thing that happens. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not. Probably so. Yep. The break-even stop loss. Yes. And then watch it take like 40 points lower right after that. Yep. Not 40, but that's so funny how that happens so often. Super makes me wonder, like, you know, companies that do this with hundreds of millions and billions of dollars, like the amount of leeway that they have and the amount of balls that those traders really have to have. Like, you know, you for every tick, you know, you're up or down like millions. It's at that point you just got to think to yourself like money has to be nothing more than a game. Like money can't be real. Like luckily for me, pretty much everything's canceled for the day. There's no work. I can sit here and try to be as patient as I can all day. Try to get some of this money back, but do so patiently as opposed to how I would normally do it. So like if this is probably not, it's not really a good 1, 2, 3 move to chart, but like hypothetically, you know, there's your 100% level. And isn't that funny how these moves line up? Like here's your 138, 161 that lines up right around our day high, right around all this volume. I wish I was smarter and better at math. Like I wish I really understood why Fibonacci sequences and fib levels like are present in so many places, including the stock market. It's something that it's like a puzzle to me, you know. Clean, sponsor me. Clean energy. Give you a good attitude during your drawdowns. Check out the convergence of all the moving averages. Like, holy shit, we're all within a couple points of each other, right on top of this weekly open. You know, a lot of reason for aggressive buyers to be buying here. Meanwhile, I'm just sitting here waiting for this NQ futures to go from 18,309 to 0. Likelihood of which is literally 0. What's going on with our Airbnb, guys? Getting bookings, man. What's up? Oh boy. The short was accurate. It's like one of the things I've been trying to learn. I guess learning is trying to identify the kind of day that you're working in, right? So big move down, big rebound. Basically, that big move is kind of like almost canceled at this point, and we're turning into a range day. You know, you can see the range right here. You know, between 0 and 100% right here, we got a range forming. So if that's the case, and until it's no longer true, basically got to sit here and trade it like a range day. Although that big move down and the fact that we haven't been able to break this level here makes me a little bit suspicious. It's starting to get late. It's still fairly liquid. Fairly, like right at this like 303 level, man, market just freezes basically. The lights are flickering. That makes me wonder about how being in a trade with no power might feel. Let's see what's going on with that. Snow has eased off quite a bit, but there's a lot of it on the ground, that's for sure. All right, man, let's take us up to 349. That way you can short and blow up his account. I am only like kind of kidding because I really do want to succeed at this at some point, man. It's been a year and a half of just nonstop trying and just like trial and error, and mostly just like huge lessons in patience. It's funny, like between this and raising a kid, I don't know which one tests your patience more. I can tell you which one is less rewarding though. That would be trading. Nothing as rewarding as being a dad, that's for sure. I've never felt that feeling until we had Max, and just trying to get good at this so that I can have more free time with my dude and have more options, and honestly at this point just trying to get good at this because like I fucking hate like trying and not succeeding. Like it's hard for me to give up on something until I figure it out. But then it's like once I do figure something out, once I get good at something, it's real easy for me to just kind of like move past it because like, oh yeah, been there, done that. So like purely on a short-term observation, we're setting higher lows. This like hammer candle right here seems awfully bullish, but again, we're just for now stuck within this range. Don't really want to do a whole lot with it. Don't want to go against it necessarily yet. If we could get like another 60, 70 points out of this move, get towards my little blue line up here, I'd be real comfortable shorting that. I wonder if at the end of the day we just get like a fucking solid like red hour. Because really like the PPI news are really, really, really not good. Like all the talk about rate cuts is basically going to go out the window if that's going to be the way our PPI is going to come in like next month. If we're seeing anything similar to this month, then say goodbye to any rate cuts. And if you're taking this as financial advice, you need to see some counseling. Just a dude in his garage, trying to squeeze money out of candles. There's no mystery as to where all the buyers are hiding at. Right around 280. It's like they tried once right here. They were like, oh, we're going to bounce it. Sellers came through, ran out of steam. I bought right here. I sold right here. I could, coulda, woulda, shoulda, right? Like, look at that. That's like what I'm trying to brainwash myself into is like, once I hit a certain level of, um, once I hit a certain performance level and a certain level on my account balance, then I can play by slightly different rules. But for now, it's got to be basically scalping. Super tight stop losses. Like right here, be wrong for 8, 10 points. Don't be wrong for 50. Even though it then recovered, like it just, with these accounts, like it's just impossible for me to absorb that. I could trade micros. But it's just so boring. mean, that's the other problem probably is like, if it's boring, that means it's a game, right? It's it's all about how you look at life, I guess, right? Like if it's not fun, I don't really want to do it. But if it's too much fun, then like, are you taking it serious at all? Balances. So averages are starting to get a little bit more bullish, trying to hold that weekly open. Last week, I think stocks had like their shittiest week since last year. For sure, buyers are trying to make up for lost ground, but I mean, it's almost kind of satirical to say that stocks had their shittiest week since last year, considering that we're at all-time highs basically. And this 303 level has like been traded around quite a bit, but can't say it's exactly like respected. It's been blown through upwards and downwards nonstop, so not really putting too much weight on that. It's just like a reference. All right, I'm gonna wrap this up for the morning. I appreciate anybody that's watched this. Can't believe you guys found it. We'll do this again, hopefully with more success.